You are no longer needed, it's divorce, divorce. I'm sorry, sister, he's the man of my destiny. A younger sister who stole from her elite husband with an annual income of $150,000. And she seems to be pregnant. Well, if you're okay with it, I guess it's fine. My name is Beth. I work as a freelance designer. Suddenly, I have a regret. That is, marrying my current husband, Victor, who has a terrible habit of cheating. I believe everyone has one or two regrets in their life. But I can say this, one should seriously consider their choice of a marriage partner. Even after 3 years of marriage, I still regret it. You are the one for me, I want to marry you. An elite employee of a big company, with an annual income of $150,000, and handsome. I didn't fall for him just for his title, but he seemed flawless. Being able to date someone like Victor was happiness in itself. And his romantic proposal made me over the moon. Being the eldest of 2 sisters, I have always been the supporting role to my charming and beloved younger sister. I envied her. Victor, a high-spec man, calling me his destiny freed me from my inferiority complex. The early days of marriage were blissful. I was married to someone everyone envied, living a life everyone aspired to. But within a year of marriage, he cheated. At first, I was in shock and couldn't think of anything. I clung to Victor, begging him not to divorce me, saying I would try harder, as he was everything to me at that time. Looking back, there were suspicious signs even when we were dating. The smell of women's perfume, women's cosmetics around. But I was deceived by his excuses and refused to see the truth. After marriage, I believed that since he called me his destiny, he would only look at me from now on, even if he had cheated in the past. But that belief turned to resignation with each betrayal. When the first affair was discovered, Victor apologized and promised never to do it again. But he cheated repeatedly. And at first, he pretended to be remorseful. But eventually, maybe he grew tired of my suspicions about his infidelity. He started saying, "You're not my destined partner, it was a mistake." I still believe he will come back to me someday. But I've grown tired of hoping. Long time no see, how have you been? Is Victor still the same? Oh, just listen, it's so infuriating. Today, I had plans to have lunch with my childhood friend, Kathy. We've known each other since we were babies. An inseparable bond. I've told Kathy everything about Victor's infidelities. Why did I marry such a guy? I've been meaning to say this, but why don't you get a divorce? It's not that rare these days. Kathy's casual suggestion left me slightly puzzled. Somewhere inside, I still hope. Maybe Victor will realize his mistakes and say, I was wrong all this time. Maybe he will start to cherish me alone. I understand, you're still not sure. Beth, you really loved Victor. Kathy's teasing makes me remember the past and feel embarrassed. Stop it, I'm not as in love as I was back then. But, I can't seem to hate him either. Maybe as we get older, he'll settle down. Kathy, looking somber, hit the nail on the head as I spoke half-heartedly. When you say, when we get older, when is that? Are you okay with not being cherished now? I know it's pointless to hope. Kathy suddenly became serious as I wavered. Hey, why don't we hire a detective? I know someone who can introduce us to a good one. They'll even cut down the cost a bit. A detective? To investigate Victor? I was taken aback by this unexpected suggestion. If you find out who the affair partner is, maybe it will open your eyes. You've never looked into his affair partners before, right? Indeed, she had a point. I avoided digging deeper, fearing the shock if the other woman was more attractive than me. If that wakes you up, get a divorce and compensation. And then find someone who will truly make you happy. I have no idea how to go about getting compensation. Kathy smirked. Silly, who do you think you're talking to? I'll take care of it, obviously. I had forgotten, Kathy is a lawyer. And a reputedly skilled one at that. All I'm waiting for is your decision. I want you to be happy, Beth. Tears welled up in my eyes at Kathy's earnest expression. Right, it's time to wake up. Please, I'm counting on you. As I pleased, Kathy smiled warmly and happily. When I got home, Victor hadn't returned yet. He had been coming home late due to overtime these past few days. Well, whether that's true or not, I don't know. Since I work from home, I naturally end up doing all the housework. While I was tidying up the laundry, the front door opened with a click, and Victor came home. Oh, welcome back. Yeah, what about dinner? I wanted to kick myself for even slightly hoping he'd be happy to come home early. Instead, he asks, what about dinner, without even a hello. I just got back too, so I'll make something. What? It's not ready? What are you doing at home all day? He sighed exaggeratedly and threw his bag onto the sofa. I told you days ago that I was meeting Kathy today. And you said you'd be working late. Forget it, forget it. Why do you always have excuses? It's disheartening to come home to a gloomy woman. I work hard and come home to no dinner? Really, why did I even marry someone like you? Forget it, I'll eat out. He left immediately after his rant. I felt numb, no tears, just a sense of emptiness. Why is it hard to let go when this life feels meaningless? It infuriates me that he acts like he's the only one working. It's been like this since we got married. He used to brag about his high income, saying things like, it's nice for you. You can relax being married to me, or can you even imagine an annual income of $150,000? Though I was never a housewife, so there was no relaxing for me. Back then, I didn't even care about such things. Exhausted, I lay down on the bed. I checked my phone and saw a message from Kathy saying, I've hired the detective. That night, I fell asleep as is. A few days after hiring the detective, I was shocked by what Kathy told me. Wait, is this for real? Yes, it seems to be true. You didn't know, did you? The report contained unbelievable information, and I couldn't help but question Kathy about it. Kathy had double-checked with the detective. And it seems everything written in the report was true. I can't believe I never suspected any of this. I feel so foolish. You can't help it. It's not your fault, Beth. Don't blame yourself. Anyway, let's decide what to do when we meet next time. However, before we could take any leisurely steps, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. The start of it all was a message from my sister Susanna, whom I only see during Christmas at our parents' home, saying, I'm coming over now. We don't live far, but I haven't been back home since before my marriage, except for Christmas. Susanna still lives at home, but she's often absent, even during Christmas. We hadn't seen each other this year and weren't particularly close. So her sudden visit was surprising. I was nearby and thought I'd drop by. Sorry, sis. She's as glamorous and charming as ever, hardly seeming like my sister. It's okay, I've finished work for the day. What? You're working, even though your husband is rich? Smirking, she was dressed in what seemed like very expensive clothes. Last I heard, she'd quit a stable job after less than a year and had been bouncing around. Recently working at a bar. Victor's money isn't mine. I didn't want to quit my job. Don't you have work tonight, Susanna? Me? I'm not working anymore. That took me by surprise. Our parents had just started to feel relieved she'd found a stable job. But now, not working, she seemed to be spending more on her appearance than before. You're not doing anything dangerous, are you? Dangerous? Ahaha, maybe in a way. She chuckled, about to reveal something shocking, when the front door opened. Oh, welcome back. Hey, Victor, you're late. I was waiting. A bad feeling washed over me. Were Victor and Susanna that close? Sorry. Have you told her yet? Not yet. I wanted to wait for you. It would be too sad for my sister to hear it from me. I was struggling to keep up with this unexpected turn, but I knew it wasn't good. Their demeanor was like that of a couple. Beth, I want a divorce. I can't do this with you anymore. Wait, you're cheating again? And with my sister? What are you thinking? As I confronted them, Victor looked annoyed. Then Susanna, with tears in her eyes, intervened. Wait, sis. It's not Victor's fault. I should have told you sooner. I couldn't bear to hurt you. It's not Susanna's fault. The marriage between Beth and me was a mistake. Susanna is my true soulmate. I couldn't believe the ridiculous charade I was witnessing. Sis, I'm pregnant. It's Victor's baby. I felt more disbelief than shock. Telling me this, how far could their lack of consideration go? Despite saying she didn't want to hurt me, Susanna looked triumphantly at me, rubbing her belly. That's right, she's always been like this. Always wanting to be superior to me. When she felt superior, she'd look at me with pity and offer comforting words. But I knew it wasn't genuine. It's so funny to see you look envious. I had overheard her saying this to a friend. But I never thought she would go as far as to take my husband. I took a deep breath and faced them squarely. Well, if you're pregnant, there's no choice but to divorce. I'll contact you about the details later. Wish you happiness. I picked up the divorce papers from the table, folded them neatly, and put them in my bag. Susanna watched me leave the living room, looking disappointed. Probably thinking I would make more of a fuss. I was grateful for Kathy's report, otherwise, I would have been more hurt. I headed to Kathy's house to discuss my next steps. 3 days after Susanna's unexpected visit, with Kathy's help, I had already moved out. Half a month later, I had settled into my new life, and a month had swiftly passed. I filed the divorce papers the same day and, following Kathy's advice, sent a formal notice to Victor and Susanna. I intended to claim compensation for their affair. It was a predictable outcome. Unbelievably, they were planning to get married. Friends who received their wedding invitations contacted me one after another, creating chaos. I got an invitation too. During lunch, when the topic of the wedding came up, Kathy said this with disbelief. What? You got one too? Were you close with Susanna? As far as I remembered, Kathy and Susanna had never hung out together. Kathy seemed to think the same. They must be desperate for guests. They're probably sending invitations to just about anyone. It seemed not many were interested in attending their thoughtless wedding. It's none of our business, anyway. As I was about to change the subject, my phone rang. No way, it's from Victor. What does he want? Kathy frowned. I don't know. He hasn't contacted me since that day. What should I do? Why don't you answer? I'm here with you. What a relief. Luckily, we were at Kathy's house for lunch, so I put the call on speaker. You're really a nasty piece of work, aren't you? As soon as the call connected, Victor's disgusted voice came through. What are you talking about? I was genuinely confused. I had been harmed, but I hadn't done any harm. Don't play dumb. You're jealous of us, so you're stopping our guests from coming, right? That's terrible, sis. Apparently, Susanna was there too. They were complaining about a lack of wedding guests and suspected me of meddling. What a joke. I haven't done anything. Isn't this a misunderstanding? Sis, do you hate me now? Is that why you're doing this? Susanna played the tragic heroine, but unfortunately, I was the actual victim. Do you have any proof that Beth is responsible? Kathy, who had been listening coolly, interjected. Who's that? It's Kathy. I received an invitation to your wedding, but unfortunately, I'll decline. I have no intention of celebrating such an unreasonable couple. Kathy said this firmly, and I nearly burst out laughing. Sis told you not to come, right? That's mean. Oh, didn't you hear? I said I have no interest in celebrating you too. I don't want to waste my time on such indecency. I couldn't help but laugh out loud this time. Victor was making noise in the background. What's so funny? You've ruined our wedding. No offense, but I really haven't done anything. I've been getting a lot of messages from people saying I'm disillusioned with both of you. It's indecent. Victor seemed shocked by my words, muttering, "What, really? I'm fed up with this nonsense and have no desire to talk to them again. Yet they keep bothering me, thinking I'm bitter and jealous." I decided not to hold back any longer. Victor, Susanna, it's okay. I'm actually rooting for you. Supporting each other despite imperfections is not easy, you know. My sudden cheerful tone seemed to unnerve them. And there was silence on the other end of the phone. Susanna, I'm sorry I misunderstood you. Thinking you treat your partners like accessories, just to decorate your own life. Speaking gently, Susanna replied with confusion. What are you saying all of a sudden? You're just jealous, right? That's so petty. Yes, but Victor is your destiny, right? As I questioned again, Susanna continued triumphantly. Yes, Victor really cares for me. You couldn't handle him, but I will always support him. I wonder who she thinks is responsible for the divorce. She's always been audacious, and that probably won't change. So, have you registered your marriage yet? What? You think you still have a chance? We're already registered, of course. You've already filed for divorce, haven't you? Stop clinging to Victor. Susanna's triumphant tone suggested she truly believed Victor was perfect and that I was still pining for him. Who's really the bad one here? Oh, so you're prepared. Since you're not working, Susanna, you can't spend money like before. You'll need to help pay off Victor's debts. There was a moment of incomprehensible silence before Susanna whispered. Debts? Yes, $20 million isn't an amount you can repay easily. You need to be frugal. You're supporting Victor, right? I heard rustling. Victor must be panicking. Without giving them a chance to interrupt, I continued. And Victor, make sure you support Susanna. I heard from a friend you were worried about whose child it might be. I appreciate you deciding to stand by Susanna. She must be feeling insecure, but if you're the father, the child will surely be happy. Their confusion was evident in the silence. Unperturbed, I delivered the final blow. Both of you are meant for each other, supporting one another as destined partners. It took them a while to grasp the situation. The silence lingered, then suddenly grew noisy. Debt? $20 million, that's a lie, right? And the child, it's mine, right? Of course, neither was a lie. Just a few days before Susanna came over, Kathy had informed me about Victor's $20 million debt. I was shocked when I found out. The debt was due to Victor spending money on affairs, gambling, and paying compensation for several affairs with married women. I was still waiting for the report on Victor's affair. So learning that Susanna was the other woman was a shock. But knowing this fact made it easier for me to accept the divorce and not fall for Susanna's provocations. I couldn't thank Kathy enough. As for Susanna's baby, I learned about it from a friend who called about the wedding invitation. She seems to be pregnant, but no one knows whose child it is. Please help. My friend confided, worriedly. Apparently, Susanna had relationships with several men before getting involved with Victor. And the baby could be one of theirs. Of course, there's a chance it could be Victor's child. But considering the timing of the pregnancy, the likelihood seemed very low. Then, please take care of the compensation matter as well. I hung up quickly before they could start arguing again. There was no callback. Probably, they were busy casting doubts on each other. Bad luck just dropped out of your life, 2 at a time. I couldn't help but laugh back at Kathy's sly grin. Sometime after that call, my mother from my hometown contacted me. I had been avoiding contact with her, fearing she would worry, but surprisingly, Susanna and Victor had shown up at my parents' house together. Ignoring my confused parents, they seemed to have asked for help with the $20 million debt. When my parents said it was impossible to pay such an amount, Susanna showed them the formal notice Kathy had sent, claiming, Victor deceived me, and now my sister is spitefully demanding money from me. Of course, the notice explained why I was claiming compensation from Susanna. Upon reading it, my parents seemed to grasp the situation. My father, furious for having underestimated me, scolded Susanna and then lost it and punched Victor. I don't know whose child Susanna is carrying. There are several men who could be the father. I am the one who's been deceived. Victor, probably feeling unjustified after being hit by my father, ended up revealing everything. Utterly fed up, my parents refused to deal with their troubles any longer, kicked them out, and declared disownment. They must have run out of friends to turn to and resorted to my parents as a last resort. What happened to them afterward, I neither know nor want to know. But Kathy insists on not letting them escape until the compensation is paid. She's too reliable. My mother was worried about me, but I'm fine now. I have a strong and supportive best friend. If there's a new love in my future, this time I won't be deceived by appearances. I want to build a warm home with a wonderful person who truly cares for each other. But preferably, someone handsome and kind would be nice.